Well, good morning and welcome to the show. Jeff Beals at your service, broadcasting live from KFAB in downtown Dundee. This is the only show in the metro area that talks about the growth and development of your favorite city. We're brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and D&M Roofing. And without any further ado, it's time to bring on my co-host, the legendary real estate dealmaker himself, Trenton Magid.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, Jeff.
Good morning. We've had a great week, and this is going to be a great show because it's the call-in show.
Yeah, it is. Ladies and gentlemen, you can ask your questions. We prefer that they're about economic development or commercial real estate in the greater Omaha area.
402-558-1110. We'll get to those in a minute, but first we got to bring on our esteemed panelists. Sitting to the right of Trenton is Brad Williams of Brad Williams Photography and ENA Consulting. Good morning, Brad.
Hey, good morning, guys. Thanks for having me back.
Yep, good to see you and hear you. And sitting next to Brad is Jorge Sotolongo from NAI NP Dodge. Good morning, Jorge.
Good morning, gentlemen. Thanks for having me.
Good to see you, too.
We got the band back together.
The band's back together, and it's ready to play. So before we go any further, though, since Brad's here, we have a new Brad Williams construction update. And this just came out yesterday. And it's available by going to growomaha.com. When you get to the navigation bar, just click on shows and you can go down to construction update. It's also available on the Grow Omaha YouTube page. Brad, what will people see on the construction update this month?
Some road construction out 168th and Center and building in the Blackstone. There's another building down by apartment by Dewey Park, an apartment building off 78th and Dodge or 80th and Dodge by the hospital. A little bit of everything.
And it's good as always. So if you like to find out just what some of these things look like without burning up a whole bunch of gas driving around town, just watch the video.
I forgot. There's also a whole bunch of photos from the opening weekend of the mall. There's like a slideshow at the end.
I love that part.
It's unbelievable. Brad was there for 3 days straight, if not 4 days straight, and he did the most amazing videos and pictures of the new Riverfront Park, the Gene Leahy Mall portion of it, and they're unparalleled. So thank you for that service.
Those were, I was taking those for Mecca, but they said I was okay to share them on the social media. So
very
I added
cool
them to the video this month.
All right. Well, that's the construction update video. It is available. And we are now going to go into our news of the week, which is brought to you by Eagle Mortgage. EagleMortgageCompany.com is where you can find them in the virtual world. You can find them in the physical world at 114th and Davenport. But whatever world you like to live in, if you're going to buy a house, you want to definitely contact Eagle Mortgage because their mortgage brokers are very good listeners. Perhaps just as important, they're very good at knowing about home financing options, FHA, VA, conventional. They do all of that. And we encourage you to work with them if you are even thinking about buying a house. You can find them, like I said earlier, online at EagleMortgageCompany.com. All right, guys, well, let's get into it. Before we go into the construction and development news, I do have a couple of little breaking restaurant items. Hacienda Real, which is the Mexican restaurant that has been long anticipated on the corner of 78th and Cass Street, now has an opening date, Monday.
No way.
Yeah, they're opening Monday. And I actually went in yesterday and met the owners, and it looks great. And I think they're gonna do very well there. It's a former old Chicago space at 78th and Cass. Other restaurant news we have a Grow Omaha Eats with Sarah Baker Hansen restaurant review. This is brought to you by Cheer Athletics, which is one of the best all-star cheerleading gyms in the entire nation. The Omaha location is located at 146th and Gold Coast Road in Papillion. In this week's review, Sarah Baker Hansen takes down the Dundee Dell, the new Dundee Dell, and it's a positive review.
Actually lifts it up.
Lifts it up,
Doesn't
takes
take
it
it
down. Well, she took down a lot of the food that they serve there and a couple of the beverages. Anyway, good review, and I can't wait. I have not been to the new Dundee Dell.
I haven't either, and I was surprised to see her photo of the new space. That remodel, they did a great job.
It did.
Yeah, I've been there a few times. It's actually really great. So go there, get chicken tikka masala, no joke, and get yourself a good cocktail. They're really, really
I was
good.
kind of surprised that a lot of those scotches are really old.
You know,
You think with the new space and everything, they'd have more up-to-date scotches.
I think it works backwards with Scotch.
Oh, okay.
In the review, she talked about chicken tikka masala actually being a stalwart of British pub culture.
Really?
Well, you think about it. There's a huge Indian influence in London.
It is
so
the
it makes
official.
a lot of sense.
I think it's the official dish of either England or the UK in general. I don't know, but it's a curry. Essentially, is the national dish.
But
there.
you can't go wrong with chicken tikka masala if they
And
make
if,
it
if
good.
that fails, fish and chips might work too.
All right, so let's go into some of the news of the week. The big story that just broke yesterday late afternoon. City of Omaha announced that the city plans to lease temporary library space downtown at 1410 Howard Street. This is going to be a stopgap measure so that there is space for patrons to access library services downtown before the new library at 1401 Jones will be ready on March 1st. But see, there's a gap because we have also found out that the official start of demolition of the W. Dale Clark Library is October 1st. And but yet the 1401 Jones Library won't be available till March 1st. So this temporary leased space, it's getting kind of confusing because there's a lot of 14s in here, but 14th and Howard will be the library for a few months.
I'm trying to think of what space that is. It's not Patrick's Market because that's 1416.
It's right east of it. I think it's part, where there's that 80s flashback bar?
Yeah, I didn't know if that was it.
There were a couple buildings, little small historic buildings to the west, which were part of that renovation project. I believe it's in one or two of
It was
those.
the north side of the street. It's only like 2,500 feet.
And that's another First Management property, I believe. So
Right.
right there, right east of Patrick's is it's sandwiched in between, just like Jeff said.
So it's small,
It's a
but
good spot.
you'll be able to check out books, return them, and library services and computers and things like that.
But guys, one of the exciting things here to me is that I didn't think originally demo was going to start until closer to Christmas time. Now we're finding out that demo is going to start on October 1st. I find that very encouraging, because we got to get rid of that big concrete bunker before we can have Mutual start working on the skyscraper.
I agree.
All right. Well, other news on the docket right now, the massive Amazon Regional Distribution Center on the northeast corner of Highways 50 and 370 in Sarpy County. It's pretty much done. When you drive by it, when you've been driving by it for the last couple of months, it looks done to me. But it will not be apparently operational until 2024. And this is because of a slowdown and supply chain issues and some of those related things.
It's kind of ironic, though. The company that basically controlled the concrete supply and steel supply for this region and probably other parts of the country is having supply chain issues. And I don't know if it's their logistics stuff or their computers and their robots and whatever, but it'll be interesting to see. They said it's a possibility they might be able to speed it up a little bit, Jeff, but didn't you kind of find that weird?
I did. And the other thing that I find very interesting was that Amazon was in an incredible hurry to build that project. The day that it closed, they had scrapers on site because they were in such a hurry, and now it's just going to sit there for a while.
And this also affected the other two that were recently constructed in Council Bluffs and North 72nd as well. I thought.
Yeah, the 72nd Street one, I think, is going to sit fallow for a while.
Also, Council Bluffs, I believe. I think Council Bluffs as well. And I think a lot of it is also staffing. I mean, I think there's just not enough people to fill these. There's not enough workers to fill them.
Yeah, especially, warehouse workers are very difficult to come by these days. And I know the big regional one at the two highways, 50 and 370, that one was supposed to employ 1,000 people. That can't be easy to come up with in this market. So we'll keep our eye on that, though. Kind of interesting to see how that all plays out. The Omaha Performing Arts has announced plans to build the Center for Arts Engagement. This is going to be an addition to the Holland Center that will cost more than $100 million. Not a huge addition, but it is 3 stories, looks nice, made of glass. It will be built in part of that grassy area to the east of the Holland Center, and fundraising is underway for this. And this comes out just a few days after Omaha Performing Arts announces that the official opening date for Steelhouse Omaha will be in March. And so that's a $103 million project. So you have $200 million worth of new buildings right by the Holland Center. And I think a lot of people are encouraged by this because you go by and you don't like to see just open, unused spaces downtown. A nice move forward.
It took a while, but it is totally worth it.
Yes, absolutely. And then we have some other news downtown. The Mercantile is the project that is under development on the northern part of the ConAgra campus. And the northernmost ConAgra building has been demolished. There's a project that is wrapping up. Well, it's still got a ways to go, but it's kind of wrapping up right there. A 5-story building called the Brick Line. And that building has 375 apartments, 40,000 square feet of retail space. The apartments are going to start becoming available for occupancy this fall. All of them should be occupied by early next year. Interestingly enough, of the 40,000 square feet of retail space in that building, and that building is right at 10th and Farnham, or 10th Street between Harney and Farnham, about 20,000 feet of it has been leased by 3 restaurants, all owned by the Omaha-based Flagship Restaurant Group. That's the same company that has Flagship Commons in the West Roads. They have Plank downtown, Blue Sushi.
Well, I think they have another concept, and I don't know if I believe it's a new concept, 1202 Howard, which is next to Blue Sushi. They bought that building. It has apartments upstairs. That was the former
Wheatfields?
Wheatfields, yeah.
Do we know what they're going to put in there?
No.
Okay, so there's 4 Flagship restaurants in the Old Market area that we're waiting on for brand names and cuisine types and
But
all that.
that building is huge. That brick line is just massive.
It really is, and it just goes on forever and ever. You know, Brad, you took a really cool aerial photograph of it a couple months ago when you were up in the helicopter, and it really kind of shows just how big it is.
Yeah, it's 2 full city blocks with a parking garage hidden in the middle. And when you're down there now, if you're walking around the mall, you can't even see the end of it from some places because it's so long.
Well, the Mercantile's next project is going to be a 7-story modern timber building. We've talked about these timber buildings in recent months. They're kind of making a big splash. You actually build these buildings out of special timber as opposed to steel beams. They go up faster. They're supposedly better for the environment. They don't cost much more. Noddle Companies is going to build one in the Builders District. This one in the Mercantile is going to be called T3. It's a Hines project. Hines is the real estate company developing the Mercantile. And the T3 stands for Timber Technology and Talent. Going to be about 250,000 square feet. They're not going to start building it till they have about 75,000 square feet of it leased, and they just recently started leasing efforts. But this thing looks really, really cool.
They've got wood.
They've got timber. And also on the Mercantile, a little bit to the southeast of the Chamber building. This is where the Greater Omaha Chamber is located. It used to be one of the ConAgra buildings. There are plans for a condominium building. This would have probably about 250 units. The height of said building has not yet been released. But if you look at the site, if you look at the number of units, I think we're probably going to see something, 14 stories or more, maybe even closer to 20. I don't know. What do you think, Brad? It's hard to estimate because it depends on how
I'm
big the floor plate is.
not sure there.
The only thing I've heard about it is that I've heard a rumor that it's been pushed up, actually, and that it's earlier than expected because they want to drive some of those residential sales and residents down to match the retail and the mixed use in the office.
Well, that makes sense. And talking about plans for the Civic Auditorium site, one of the mayor's economic development persons mentioned that several companies complained recently that there weren't enough 24-hour residents in the downtown area. So I could see there being a big push. I mean, we've been pushing for new residents downtown and having a lot of success with it in recent years, but it sounds like there could be an effort to ramp up the speed.
You know, a condo tower there, though, would just be perfect. You could be within walking distance of everything downtown, have the views of the river and the views of downtown. It would be like everything that you like about downtown combined into one, like, perfect spot.
I hope it goes, but we haven't had a great history with plans for tall apartment condo towers downtown.
I think they've just been in challenged locations, though. I mean, if you think about the riverfront condos,
That was successful.
It was successful, but it's going to be better now that the park and the Luminarium are there.
There's not a lot of amenities around there.
But yeah, when you were out there before, it was just like you're out there and you probably still are driving just to get to where you need to go.
Yeah.
It's a little bit separated.
Whereas one in the Mercantile District would be very, very walkable to the old market and all that. And if you think about the two riverfront towers that you're talking about, those two condos, one of the reasons they may have been successful is the double view, the cityscape on one side, the river on the other. And if you build one at the ConAgra site, you'd have the same deal.
But they've been pushing for like a restaurant or commercial space down there since they were built.
Yeah, I mean, they've had a couple of failed attempts there, but I think now it's what it needed. They've got a touristy sort of attraction. They've got a nice, beautiful park and a lot of connectivity. So I think it's good.
I think there's 2 or 3 lots up there that are for sale or for lease that's been there forever too.
By the
riverfront.
By the river. Oh, but further north. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens to those. And ladies and gentlemen, that is your news of the week, brought to you by Eagle Mortgage, EagleMortgageCompany.com. It is the call-in show. Get your questions ready. We're now taking them as soon as we come back from the break. 402-558-1110, 402-558-1110. You're listening to Jeff Beals, Trenton Magid, Brad Williams, and Jorge Sotolongo on Grow Omaha, brought to you by D&M Roofing and Dingman's Collision Center. Back in a moment on News Radio 1110 KFAB. And welcome back to the show. Jeff Beals, Trenton Magid, Brad Williams, and Jorge Sotolongo in studio. It's the call-in show, 402-558-1110. Anything on your mind related to real estate development, construction, economic development in Omaha, that's fair game. Show's brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and D&M Roofing. D&M Roofing is the premier roofing contractor in the metro area, and we strongly recommend them if you need help with a commercial or residential roof. Well, Craig has been waiting the longest. Good morning, Craig. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Jeff, Trenton. I really appreciate your fantastically informative Grow Omaha show all these years. God bless you guys.
Thank you.
All right, the quick question I got, I live out here in Gretna, Cornhusker Road. Think West Cornhusker Road. You guys could see the development, all the housing, schools, and everything going on. The pavement's going down just west of 192nd Street now, just east of 192nd Street. As you go west of 192nd Street, you guys will remember this old railroad bridge, very narrow for cars to get through on that gravel road as it is now. I'm just wondering if you guys know of any, if they got it in the plans here real soon to do something about it yet at all.
I know exactly which railroad bridge you're talking about. In fact, I find it rather entertaining to drive under it because it is so old and narrow. My guess is that it's probably a couple years off because they're so focused on that 180th and Giles interchange, and then the road going west on Giles. The bridge has still got a long ways to go, and then they're making a diagonal road from there that goes over to 192nd. That's not done yet. My guess would be you would have to see all of that completed before they tackle that west of 192nd on Cornhusker.
I wonder how they would tackle
road
that.
in and out.
What's that, Brad?
I said sometimes there's so many roads closed in that area that feels like the only way in and out of that area.
Yeah, and I've always long been perplexed. Love Sarpy County, but I think they deserve a little bit of criticism for how long they allow some of those roads to stay gravel in those fast-growing areas.
Right.
Okay, Craig, thank you so much for the call and for listening. Now let's go to Sherry. Sherry, welcome to the Grow Omaha show.
Hi, thank you for taking my call. Say, I have a business that we've been in business. We're in our 5th year now, and I'm thinking that I'm ready for a showroom space to show our countertop resurfacing products. But I know nothing about finding space or all this triple net stuff. How do you suggest that I go about looking for space, maybe work with you guys, or what do you suggest I do?
I think you should call us at the office. You can ask for Trenton or Jorge, 402-255-6060. And I'm glad you took my lead on calling and asking about how great our services are. But we can certainly find you some industrial space. What part of town?
Well, north or southwest.
Excellent. But just give us a call at the office. But that's what we do every day. and I think we're pretty good at it, and we'd love to work with you, and we appreciate you listening to the show.
Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Sherry. Good luck to you in your business. And if I find out, Jorge and Trenton, which one of you put her up to throwing that softball at you, I'll have words with you later. All right, let's go to Stephanie. Stephanie, you're the next caller on the Grow Omaha show. Good morning. Stephanie, are you with us? Stephanie has a question.
Clear.
Okay, go ahead, Stephanie.
Hi, love the show. I'm just curious if there's any plans for a Hawaiian Brothers restaurant coming to Omaha.
You know,
there was talk a few years ago, but
absolutely, it's been 3 or 4 years. I know the rep that's working with them, and they've talked about a lot of new developments. And their name came up actually in the last few days. Hawaiian Brothers. They are a concept that actually has some Spam dishes. They use Conagra Spam in a delightful way, I'm told. And anytime my friends go, I think they have one in Kansas City, and I hear it's pretty tasty, besides the Spam.
I say I'll let you, when we go sometime when they open the first one, I'll let you try the Spam, and I might try a different entree on the menu.
Good point. But yeah, there's been a lot of demand for it, and I don't know if they're waiting for just the perfect location or what.
They had a couple of almost locations, I know that, but they were, for whatever reason, they weren't able to do them. Unless something's changed, I suspect you'll see them pretty soon.
Yep, clothes only counts and horseshoes and hanger nades.
And Hawaiian Brothers. So thank you, Stephanie. Appreciate your call and for listening. Let's do one more call before we go to our middle of the show break, and that will be Betty. Good morning, Betty, and welcome to the show.
Hi, I'm just wondering what's going in at the corner of 144th and Fort. And we hear rumors about a Costco coming in on Maple Street. Is that true? That's all.
Okay, thank you, guys. Let's first address the 144th and Fort.
That's Casey's.
Okay, Casey's convenience store gas station on the northeast corner. That's right by Pizza Davlo and Dragon Walk and A Foreign Taste.
It's about as exciting as a new Starbucks.
Hey, I've got the Casey's loyalty card.
You know, we've looked at the northwest corner for a few different projects, but there's just a lot of challenges there, so nothing really has moved forward on any of those yet.
Okay.
I think what's really cool, though, is the new Amico stations that are going up that Anderson Convenient Marts are changing from BP to the classic, iconic Amico signs. You know, originally it was Standard. They couldn't go back to Standard, but it's still owned by BP. But the red, white, and blue, 140th and Center, 120th and Pacific, and you'll see the other ones
180th and Center.
Yep, just north of Center, and just beautiful store. There'll be also 168th and Q Street as well.
Actually, if you think if a gas station logo can be pretty, those new Amico ones are absolutely beautiful looking.
Are we going to get retro gas prices too?
Let's talk to Ray Jr. I'm sure he's listening. I'm sure he's crunching right now.
Guys, let's address that Costco issue.
What can we say?
I don't know. I mean, we can say whatever we want. I mean, it's not been officially.
I've heard that they've purchased ground.
Yeah, it's not been announced.
And I've heard it from pretty good sources.
Everybody thinks it's coming to the southeast side of 180th and Maple.
Yeah, so we'll see. It's looking. They say where there's smoke, there's fire, and there's an awful lot of smoke around that Costco issue. But for some reason, it's not been
$1.50 dogs
finalized.
So what I can say is that I know that even other large anchor retail type tenants know about this from outside of Omaha.
So they know about the Costco. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so it's looking really, really likely. Okay, well, that was a great call. We appreciate that. And we're going to take our middle of the show break. And when we come back, we will have time for a few more calls. Looks like Ken is on the line. Other than that, the phones are open, 402-558-1110, 402-558-1110. You're listening to Jeff Beals, Trenton Magid, Brad Williams of Brad Williams Photography, Jorge Sotolongo from NAI/NP Dodge. And we'll be back in a moment on News Radio 1110 KFAB. And welcome back to the show. Jeff Beals sitting next to Trenton Magid. He's sitting next to Brad Williams, and he's sitting next to Jorge Sotolongo. We are your blue ribbon panel today. The show is brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center, which has 4 metro area locations. The top choice for body work and also mechanical work. We strongly recommend Dingman's Collision Center. Also, our friends at D&M Roofing are proud sponsors of the show. And we do want to take a a moment for our commercial real estate development spotlight, which is brought to you by Noddle Companies, noddlecompanies.com. They have been changing the built environment in Omaha for the better, and other cities as well, for many, many years. In Omaha, their projects include Steel Ridge, Rivers Edge, the Builders District, Village Point Medical Center. Got a new project coming soon to 180th and Dodge, southwest corner. But perhaps the development that they're best known for is Exarban. Guys, I was in Exarban Village Thursday night. Went to dinner with a couple family members for my sister's birthday at Saffron. By the way, great place to have dinner.
Yeah, I love it.
Cocktails were very, very good. Appetizers. And we stayed there way too long, and they didn't get mad at us or anything. And that was great. So then we were done. We come out of there around 9 o'clock, and the patio at Herb Sant is just packed. People having a good time. There was a guy on the sidewalk playing music with a little electronic keyboard. He was good. And so then after everyone left, I did the Grow Omaha thing, and I walked around and checked everything out.
The vibe down there is just amazing at Exarban Village.
Totally. I went to Interrail, tons of people at Interrail, and you would not believe the number of people who were playing sand volleyball on the court south of the Interrail. So if you haven't been to Exarban lately, even on a Thursday night, good grief, get down there. Place is hopping.
We went last weekend. We took the kids down. The Omaha Police Department had the bomb pop with a cop, and they actually landed the police helicopter right in the middle of the Stinson Park there.
No way.
How
That's
cool
awesome.
is that?
Cool. It was awesome.
That's
Windy.
very cool.
So they had all the different, especially police vehicles you could go check out, and kids had popsicles and face painting. It was a good time.
That's awesome.
And the Sunnies too. I would say Sunnies, that outdoor bar. Definitely do that all as much as you can while it's still open seasonally.
Yeah, because you got August, September, October of
They had
real
a
nice
salsa
weather
night the
coming
other
up.
night actually, and it started raining. Everybody just kept dancing, and it was really cool.
I can tell you last night from firsthand experience that Jones Brothers Cupcakes is still as good as it's always been too.
And that's your commercial real estate development spotlight, brought to you by Noddle Companies. You can learn more about Noddle Companies by going to the website, simply enough, noddlecompanies.com. Well, let's go take a couple of calls. Jeff has been waiting the longest. Jeff, you are next on Grow Omaha. Good morning.
Hey, I'm just curious. I was in Minneapolis when they rolled out their light rail, and, you still hear people were complaining it's a big boondoggle. And, I'm hearing that now. I was born here, was up there for a while, and came back. I don't know if people realize the apartment towers and the construction that kicked off after they built that. And as they continue to expand it, Minneapolis has probably got 20 high-rise apartment buildings, anywhere from 10 up to 25. Since they've built that, why do you think people are so against this? Because it's amazing.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. That's, I think, one of the main points in support of the project is the the development that occurs as a result. And they've even pinned down the actual number. We're talking in the billions of dollars in terms of development that's going to result from the construction of the streetcar. I think the reason people are against it, or maybe are a little hesitant about it, is that it's sometimes seen as older technology, or it's sort of they wonder why the buses aren't holding as many people, so why do we need a streetcar? They're worried that it's not going to get utilized. I've heard a lot of different things, but I think nobody can deny that the positive impact from the development is going to be a real benefit.
You go up there in the parking lots that have disappeared because of it. And I'm like, how much does a parking lot pay in property taxes versus a 20-story building?
Exactly, and that goes along with the city's plan to help drive development in those areas. So those lots, whether they're private or public or whatever, get redeveloped, and then they're going to construct strategically placed, larger city-owned parking garages. So you only have to park once, get on the line, go to dinner, go to a show and everything, and never have to touch your car in between.
And it's free, which is unique, and it's worked for Kansas City and Minneapolis and a lot of other communities. And I think we're well ahead of the curve because most of the land is already in developers' hands with projects either existing or ready to go.
Yeah, so do you think this will, it'll be a big spur pretty quickly?
Yeah, because
once that thing starts going,
it will. Because the reality is that we're also lucky that Mutual of Omaha is so linked to this project. The tower, the the streetcar itself, and then the redevelopment of their current campus, they are all really 3 phases of the same project. And so it's good that we've got a true public-private partnership going, and I think this is a very likely to happen at a faster rate than anybody expects.
Yeah, we appreciate the call, Jeff. I think to answer his question, it already has had an impact. I think some of these projects are being accelerated because that final redevelopment agreement was passed by the city council. Let's squeeze in one more call before we break for the lightning round, and that will go to Melanie. Good morning, Melanie. Welcome.
Hi. Thank you, guys. My question is this. I've been shopping around at condos downtown, and there's such a vast difference in the HOA fees. And I want to know what do I attribute that to?
We couldn't tell you because I think that's specific to your property, but I will say if you go down to Kansas City in the plaza and you look at the condos down there and you ask somebody what their HOA fee is, some of them are more than their rent. And I don't know why that is. I don't know why you would ever own a place in some building like that, but I mean, HOA fees are just subject to all kinds of different rules because they're all ruled by different bodies,
you really have to be careful. So she's talking about homeowners association fees, and you can get those as well in single-family houses. You just got to be really careful and understand what their responsibilities are and what the limitations are.
Yeah, different condos have different levels of service and amenities, which, of course, could have an impact on that as well. We're going to take our final break. We appreciate that call, Melanie. And what comes next is the Turner Construction Lightning Round. You're listening to Jeff Beals, Trenton Magid, Brad Williams, and Jorge Sotolongo on Grow Omaha, brought to you by D&M Roofing and Dingman's Collision Center on News Radio 1110 KFAB. And welcome back to the show. Jeff Beals and Trenton Magid, your regular host, joined by our guest hosts, Brad Williams of ENA Consulting and Brad Williams Photography, and Jorge Sotolongo from NAI NP Dodge. And this is the Lightning Round. The Lightning Round is brought to you by Turner Construction. We love Turner Construction. Just the other day, I was sitting out on a sidewalk restaurant, and a beautiful white pickup with a very sharp, crisp blue Turner logo on the door drives by. I thought, I wonder which one of the many Turner projects that pickup truck is driving to. At any rate, Turner does such a great job, whether it's a huge project like the Sarpy County Data Center or one of the many retail build-outs they do, or the next thing for your business. They do an outstanding job of it. Their people are very motivated, in part because they're treated so well, and we could not recommend Turner Construction enough any stronger. We give them our top endorsement and an enthusiastic recommendation. All right, guys, first of all, we're going to talk about a cool little place in Countryside Village I visited yesterday. I got a preview yesterday. It's called Countryside Cones. It's a frozen custard restaurant.
Thanks, Jeff.
You're welcome. It was started by Allie Woodward and Dr. Chase Woodward, husband and wife team, that wanted to have an ice cream place in the neighborhood. They lived nearby Countryside, so they opened their own and got to try it. The frozen custard is great. Quaint little place. I think it's going to be a smash hit. Grand opening at Countryside Village today at noon. So, Brad, you'll probably be there. You're Countryside Village.
It's got a cute logo. Is it an otter, or what is it?
I think it's like it's a seal. It's a seal. That's what it's, sea lion.
Yeah, we were definitely looking for an ice cream shop within walking distance of our house, and this will fit that bill perfectly.
You got it. A couple other little restaurant updates. Jay's Coffee and Donuts has opened in downtown Council Bluffs. And then Dirty Birds, which moved out of the Blackstone, is going to be opening probably the first or second week of August in the Flatiron Building. We have Lucy Ethiopian Coffee, which is open on North Saddle Creek. And it's my understanding that if you go there, not only do you get the coffee, they perform a short Ethiopian coffee ceremony. So, Jorge, we got to go just to experience the ceremony.
Yeah, I have no idea what that entails, but I've had Ethiopian food, which I like.
Yeah, very, very good. And then the Ethnic Sandwich Shop, sadly, on South 13th Street is closing. And that's hitting a lot of people kind of hard. That place has like a little bit of a cult following. People love that little place. I've sadly, maybe I'm the reason why it's closing, but sadly I've never been there, but I've heard great things.
I've eaten their sausage and pepper many times. I used to like it all the time, but I used to always want to go, and no one would want to go with me, so maybe that's indicative.
Sorry about that, Jorge. Werner Park is being upgraded to Major League Baseball standards. New MLB standards require locker rooms for female staffers, better player lounges, going to be a higher center field wall so that it's easier for the batters to concentrate. You know, it's hard to believe, Brad, that ballpark's been around for over a decade now. To me, it still seems like the new baseball stadium.
Yeah, it's still a perfect ballpark, perfect place to take the kids, and they've constantly been upgrading it since the beginning, so this will just be another upgrade to it.
Jorge, the city council is going to move forward with selling the old Civic Auditorium land to a private developer. And, we don't know exactly for sure what's going to happen there. The developer has until, I think, next spring or summer to get building permits. So it might not be an urgent thing, but it sounds like we should see some sort of construction there, within the next 2 years.
I'm excited, and I think it just goes along with how many projects we have going downtown. It's amazing.
I see a heavy residential concentration there personally, and I don't know that as a fact, but there'll be office and some retail, but I could see a lot of residential.
I 100% agree. I mean, especially when we were talking earlier about the comments made by one of the mayor's deputy chiefs of staff about companies saying that we want more employable people in downtown before we bring businesses down there. Well, that's a place where you could put a heck of a lot of residential density. It's perfect for it. And it also, I like that area for a development because it bridges three things: Creighton University, North Downtown Builders District, and then downtown proper. It's kind of in the middle of that triangle. So we shall see how that all plays out. The other thing is also related to city politics. The city is going to apparently commit about $20 million to this idea of the central library at 72nd and Dodge. The bulk of the money will come from Heritage, which we interviewed Heritage Trenton on the show.
Rachel Jacobson?
About 2 months ago, I think it was. But this thing appears to be gaining steam. And from all indications, this central library is going to be a pretty special place, and it's going to be a big place.
The design is going to be amazing. It's right across from the new Crossroads project, and they're going to have like a 50-foot tall robotic warehouse that any book can be called up in like 2 minutes or something like that.
Right by the orbit, too. So it's going to be, I feel like we're getting two great new libraries, and giving up one is not that big a deal.
In one fell swoop, and they'll both look nicer. All right, with that, we're going to wrap up the show. The music is playing, so we are done. Brad Williams, thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me. It's always a lot of fun.
BradWilliamsPhotography.com. Jorge, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Jorge Sotolongo of NAINP Dodge. I'm Jeff Beals.
And I'm Trenton Magid.
You've been listening to Grow Omaha, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center, D&M Roofing, and Turner Construction on News Radio 1110 KFAB. If you like this video, be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. And remember, Grow Omaha is not just media. This is a mission. We are trying to build up Omaha and make it an even better place. We can only do that with your help. Share this video with your friends, neighbors, and family.